Brace yourselves. More business is coming your way. Today on the Blue Collar Proud Show. Hey, welcome back, Proud Nation, to another episode of the Blue Collar Proud Show. It is the show that's all about having and living the blue collar business dream. We know there is something specific in mind you have for getting your business to that point, a goal, a dream, and we want to be a part of helping you make that successful every single week. Thanks for listening in and tuning in. My name is Carter Harkins, and with me every week here is Taylor Hill.
Man, I tell you, it is a great week.
It is a good week. It's been really good. Lots of good things going on. We're seeing businesses all over the place that are growing.
Yeah.
They're digging in. They're figuring out how to take the customers that are coming in and figure out how to turn that into momentum and just keep the wheels rolling faster and faster. They're figuring out how to hire better people, lead those people so that they stay. I mean, it's good. We're seeing a lot of great things happening.
Yeah, and you know what? There's this attitude that things are difficult. But I'm telling you, we've got clients that have flipped that in the last year just by flipping that and say, you know what? It's going to be great. I'm going to make it great. I'm going to do what I need to do to be able to lead and hire and keep and whatever it is. And they've started really working on themselves.
Yeah.
And now they're starting to see how that has accelerated their business.
It's like fire. It's like taking the match and throwing it on the haystack.
Yeah. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah.
It just tickles. I mean, I got to tell you, it just tickles everybody in our company. Every single time something happens, we have this channel, our Slack channel for the win. And some days it's just full of stuff. It's just really interesting.
Yep. It all comes in. We're proud of that. Something else we're really proud of is our new sponsor. This is an app that we've built, but let me just introduce it to you and tell you about it if you haven't heard of it yet. Contractors, somewhere in your office right now is a pile of open estimates and proposals, and no one in your business can tell you if any of it is ever going to turn into closed business. Lots of cash in that stack, and it's trapped there because you don't yet have an automated sales follow-up system. Part of your process of selling in your business means that following up has to happen. The fortune is in the follow-up. So by automating your follow-ups using Closing Commander, you can do what a lot of the businesses using it are doing right now. Imagine closing 15, 20, even 30% more of the open estimates and proposals in that big old pile of estimates in your office. And we've even had some that have closed 6 figures of additional revenue in less than 6 months. And that is awesome. Exciting. I love hearing that. I love seeing how people are using it. Closing Commander is simple and easy to use. It's easy to navigate. It has good tools for tracking follow-ups and managing the process of communicating with clients about estimates. So you can set up your whole team to use it. You can also run all of your open estimate follow-ups through the office email if that's how you want to do it. Just however you do it in your office, that's how the app is going to work for you. So get rid of the stack. Start unlocking the cash that's trapped in your estimates right now, today. Listeners of the Blue Collar Proud Show can sign up right now using the link in the show notes or in the Blue Collar Proud Show app, and you get your first month completely free when you use that link. So use the link today to sign up, or you can get more information at www.closingcommander.com. Do it now. Okay, so seasonal businesses. I said at the top of the show that more business is coming your way. Brace yourselves. And I know that's how it feels to a lot of seasonal business owners, right? It's like, hold on, brace yourselves because it's coming.
Yeah.
Everybody knows if they've been in a seasonal business more than even one season, what that cycle is going to look like, when their phone is going to start blowing up and when it's going to taper off and there's going to be crickets, And so a lot of challenges in a business like that. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about it before on this show because so many of the listeners to this show have some seasonality in their business. Mm-hmm. That would be a lot of our chimney sweeps. It would be some of the HVAC companies that we work with.
Even plumbers.
Plumbers have it as well. So roofing contractors, any work that's done outside, landscapers know. So there's that seasonality is an important thing to try to understand and figure out how to get ahead of that fluctuation. right? First of all, minimize it as much as possible, but then also just prepare for it. So what we're talking about today is how to prepare for that onslaught of business that's coming your way. You know it's coming. And for many of our listeners, that is coming up very soon. So we thought this would be a great time to have this conversation. But Taylor, I know you've talked to a lot and worked with a lot of small business owners in seasonal businesses. And you've told me before that you kind of think of them in two different camps, right? I mean, this is a broad generalization, but there's two types of business owners in seasonal businesses. There are those that are proactive, and there are those that are reactive. And I know you have something in mind when you talk about that. So I want you to explain what you mean about those two camps.
So, out in the desert, there are actual places that when the rain comes that you don't want to camp because the flood's going to come right afterwards. All right. So the people that have experienced that over and over and over again know that if you camp there, you're going to be in trouble, because you're going to have to evacuate that space
or be swept away.
Yeah. Right. So to me, that's the difference of being proactive and reactive. If you're proactive and you know that, you don't go camp there because you know it's coming. All right? Or if you're down there, you know that you've got to be on your guard to get everything out of the way and get to safety. All right? If you're reactive, you just, oh my gosh, here comes the flood, and then hopefully you can get out, just you and your family or whatever. So what happens a lot of times is, and this is something I don't understand, okay? This is just me, because it's like, if you know that's going to happen, why do you keep doing the same thing? So if you know that, this is your busy season, why aren't you ready for it?
Or that it's coming up.
Why are you surprised?
Yeah, right.
This is a thing that just, oh my gosh, I'm booked 7 weeks out, and you don't have people to trucks and to run this stuff? Okay. Then why didn't you get prepared? Well, because of this. I mean, it's just excuse city.
Well, it can be, yeah.
I mean, a lot of it comes. Well, it is.
Well,
I'm just telling you.
The reactors are.
The reactors. That's what I'm saying.
And that's who you're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just excuse city. They're excusing the fact that they didn't prepare.
Right.
And the guys that prepare for it, I mean, they're hiring early, they're training, they're doing all the things because they know it's coming.
Right.
All right. They also know on the other side of the flood could be crickets. So they're also preparing for that. So you got to prepare on every side of this. But I'm always amazed at people I talk to year in and year out that aren't prepared for the busy season. And then they're not prepared for the cricket season.
Right. So they're reacting. It's like, whoa, my bank account's low. And come to think of it, my phone's not ringing. Oh my gosh, I should probably do something.
Exactly.
And then by then they're behind the 8 ball. It's too late.
Yeah.
And they're going to miss out on a lot of what they could be doing in that particular season, to prepare for the season to come, or to maximize what they can get out of the season they're in.
And sometimes, I mean, we've got clients over the past 2 years that used to have a dip in their season, and they're not.
Yeah, that's a common story with our marketing company.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting that, after they learn how to actually get through their busy season and be able to take some of that work and move it into what used to be their cricket season, they're not having cricket seasons.
Yeah.
They're having a really good, steady flow of work on a year-round basis, which is really the goal because you want money coming in. So, it's just not being prepared. And, that's one of the reasons I'm excited about hearing Chuck.
Yeah.
Because out of all the people I know, Chuck's prepared.
Well,
he's like the Boy Scouts.
Well, he is. He's an Eagle Scout. The motto of the Boy Scouts, of course, is be prepared. And not only is he an Eagle Scout, but he's a firefighter as well. And he runs his business like he ran his fire trucks in terms of preparation. You wouldn't be a firefighter and show up to a fire without being prepared. And I love hearing his stories about that. He's been a good friend of the show. In fact, we've talked to him before about how to prepare for the slow season.
Right.
And that was a great conversation. Well, this is the flip side of that same conversation. This is how to prepare for the busy season that's coming. And he explains how he does it in his business, the systems. And I guarantee you, any conversation with Chuck Roydhouse is going to involve, the systems that he uses and the discipline that he has in his business to follow those systems. So let's get into that conversation with Chuck, and then we'll come back afterwards and talk a little bit more.
You bet.
Hey, Chuck, thanks for being back on today.
Oh, thank you. It's always my pleasure to talk to you guys.
So, every year in a seasonal business, you see it coming. The busy season is coming up. You know it's going to start. You know things are going to pick up. How do you prepare your business for that season?
Ours is very repetitious. We have a calendar that we pretty much live and die by all year long for different things that we plan. And when it's starting to come into the busy season in the area that I'm at in the Mid-Atlantic, usually the first week of August, I'll take a day, usually a Friday, and I'll have the guys come in, and they'll spend the entire morning, and we'll empty out every one of our trucks, and they'll be scrubbed inside and out and wiped down and waxed and anything else that needs to happen. And then we do a preventative maintenance check on them above and beyond of what we normally do weekly. And while all the equipment's out, then we do the exact same thing to all the equipment, whether it's drills, whether it's tarps, anything like that. We go over all of our stuff. We make sure the drills are working. We wipe them down. We'll oil things. We make sure we have all the blades, that nothing's inoperable. Even though this is done on a regular basis, this is really a good, if you're ever in the service, they call it a GI. And that's where you basically empty out whatever you're doing and shake it upside down and then make it spick and span. And then we put it all back together. And we have forms that they fill out for preventative maintenance and for restocking. So as the tools go back on, anything that's either missing, broken, or starting to wear out, then we'll restock that right out of our warehouse. And usually we have everything in our warehouse to restock 2 trucks completely. So very rarely am I missing something. It might be some odder end, and then I can pick that up locally, from National Chimney or wherever I need to go.
So tell me a little bit about how you forecast going in from the previous year into the upcoming year.
Well, what we'll do is we'll pull all our stats because we track everything from number of phone calls per day, how many of them were, the crank phone calls where I guess they're automated dialing and then they hang up on you, to close rates, to types of jobs that we're booking, whether they're repairs, whether they're service calls, whether they're sweepings and inspections. And we'll kind of look at that over like a 2 or 3 year period and see if there's any trends that are changing. One of the things that's really different in this area is you used to be able to, until about 5 or 6 years ago, you could set your clock that the day after Labor Day weekend, your phones blew up. They would start ticking up after the 4th of July, but they really blew up when everybody had the psychological thing of the kids are finally back in school completely. They're in their sports. We know what our routine is. Now that's moved sort of a month ahead to like October, just because it seems like it's staying warmer about a month longer. The problem with that, there's a psychological thing that chimney season is basically September 1 until like Christmas Day for the most part, as far as craziness. So that shortens your window. So now you have to make every job count. So now you've lost almost an entire month. You can't lower your prices. You can't compromise yourself like you might if you're a little bit slower. Sometimes we all like, I can help you out with this one or whatever. You can't do that because your window of capturing the revenue is shrunk by pretty much 25-30%, and that's very significant.
Yeah, so in order to do that, you're looking at 2 or 3 years of data and then seeing what the trends are from there, whether it's up, down. So my question is, when you look at those trends, how do you adjust?
So what we do is we try to say, okay, what was going on? Was it an election year? What were the temperatures of the 2 previous years? Do we see that affected it? What was the economy doing? anything that might be an outlier, you notice that, and then you decide whether that's still going on or not, or it did or didn't affect it. And then you just make your best guess on, okay, this year looks like what it was 3 years ago weather-wise. It is or isn't an election year, or people are skittish because of the stock market or not, or whatever, and you just try to plan accordingly. And a lot of it is just your best guess looking into a crystal ball, but it's based on an informed guess, I guess, as opposed to just saying, I throw your hands up in the air and it's just going to be what it's going to be. And what that does is that'll tell us how many jobs a day we need to do. If we're going to shorten our revenue time and we normally do only 3 jobs per day, then maybe we need to do 4 until we get to the point of daylight savings where it can't happen any longer, just because you lose the daylight here.
Sure.
Talk just for a minute about what you do to help, because one of the big challenges in a seasonal business is when the season's on, it's hot and heavy and you can't even get to all the people that need your service. So I know that a lot of people in your industry back out the regular customers that they serve every year and try to position those customers during a slower period of the year so that you have more capacity for new customers that have never used you before during the busy season. Is that something you do?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, well, we've been doing that for 25 years. Sooty Bob came up with forward scheduling. And what we do as an enticement is if we go out and see somebody, we'll just say September to December, we will schedule them in a reverse order of like August, July, June, May, etc. So the next time we come back, we try to get it as close to a year as we can, but still in the off time where we're more flexible. And then we give them an incentive as being a repeat customer. They get a repeat discount. So that captures their attention of, yes, the next time we come out, it's actually only going to be 10 months. But by coming during this time of year, we're more flexible in our dates and timing. And to compensate you, we're going to give you a significant discount. That also keeps your cash flow going in the off season. Mm-hmm. So even if you're going out, most of the people, the downside of repeat clients that no one ever talks about is if you've done your job right and you've sold them everything that can be sold, now they just become sweeping and inspection. And there is no add-on sales. But knowing how quickly you'll move through those jobs and with extra daylight, those are easy days to make 4 job stops because you're not going to do the on-site sales and you're not going to have the extra time for the presentation because you've already sold them everything. So how do you make up what you can't sell? Well, you can never make up what you can't sell completely, but if you add a 4th job every day, that's a way to keep the revenue stream going.
Yeah, and also your guy's busy.
Yes, and that's the thing. The guys don't get nervous because they see the work's getting slow or they're not getting 40 hours or anything else. So there's a lot of psychological things that go on with this.
Great information. Chuck, I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to talk to somebody with such an ordered and disciplined mind. So, Proud Nation,
thank you very much.
Proud Nation, make sure you check out Chuck's website. It's theroydhouseeffect.com. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
I have a feeling that even with the ups and downs of seasonality, Chuck's business has a consistency to it that eliminates most of the negative effects that could be felt by most of the other businesses in that same industry.
Yeah, I mean, working with Chuck is almost a dream in some ways because he knows his data. You know, when you ask him a question, if I ask him something he doesn't know, he'll know it, and it won't take him long. But you know, one of the things that he talked about is really the psychology of the business aspect. And I know that you really love to study how the brain works. So, talk a little bit about how the trends in the marketplace and economy and all those things not only affect the business owner and the customers, but also how having knowing that there may not be enough work year round or whatever could affect an employee, and how that kind of psychologically
a lot of psychological effects he's talked about
with that.
Well, one of the things that brain researchers know, and this has been observed over a long period of time, not just the newest crop of neurologists,
Right.
or the with all of the fancy equipment that they have to be able to observe the brain. But one of the things we know is you cannot make good decisions when you are under tremendous stress. You can't. Okay, when you're put in a situation where there's the heat is turned up and you're under fire, your body completely shuts down the ability to have rational thought. You go into survival mode. You go into fight or flight mode, sometimes called fight, flight, or freeze mode. Your choices for what you're going to do are reactive at that point. They're no longer proactive. And you are simply reacting to what is happening and trying to figure out how to stay afloat, how to survive, how to get away from danger, how to move towards safety. That's really all you have that your brain is capable of. There's this part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex, and it's one of the newer parts of the brain, evolutionarily speaking. But under stress, it does shut down, and the older parts of the brain that are responsible for survival are the ones that kick in and start making the decisions. Those are emotional, reactive parts of the brain. You can no longer think through your decisions like you could when you felt safe, when you had the ability and the space to be able to think things through and the time to be able to think things through. So if you're waiting until those moments when things are bad to start trying to figure out how to make it good, I guarantee you're not making the best decisions you could make. You're making mistakes. You're running away from opportunities and towards safety. And safety and opportunities are oftentimes, not the same thing, and oftentimes the opposite. Sometimes you got to run towards danger to find opportunity. And if you're not in a place where you feel confident in your business to be successful in dealing with a little bit of danger in order to get to the opportunity, you're missing out on a lot of what your business could bring you. And you're suffering so much stress that you're just paralyzed by, the inability to know what to do in any given situation. So one of the things that researchers have found is having worst case scenarios, planning for the worst, and knowing what you would do if that ever happened is oftentimes enough so that when it happens, you know what to do. So great example in the military, police officers learn this in training as well. When they're put in a situation where the bullets are flying and things are getting crazy, they've already drilled on what certain possible scenarios might be for them. Now, a lot of that's geared around survival, but some of it is tactical and strategic as well. And they know certain things that they can do to de-escalate a situation or to bring it down into a manageable level of action.
Sure.
And so because they've rehearsed it, because they've gone there before in their mind, they have some ability to retain that information under fire and make better decisions in those cases. So oftentimes it's that preparation, right? And it goes right back to what Chuck was talking about, what we see in military training, police training, fire academy training, even the Boy Scouts. It all comes down to be prepared and know what you are going to be encountering in the months to come in your business. Be ready for it when it happens. Don't wait until it's already happening, but be prepared beforehand and lay the groundwork so that when it does start happening, you already know, I was expecting this. Right. I know what to do now. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. I've got a plan. We're going to enact that plan, and we're going to be able to get through this just fine. When an owner takes that responsibility, that automatically transmutes to every one of his employees. His employees sense the confidence that this business owner has. And maybe they're not as busy as they were, but the owner says, that's okay. We're going to use this time to do X, Y, and Z and improve our business so that we're ready when it turns around and we're too busy to deal with these things and have problems going the other way, tools that are breaking when we need them and everything else. So that's really the understanding the way the brain works and knowing that you can't rely on it when you're under stress and pressure. You've got to have a plan in place that the brain can go to and say, okay, I'm panicking a little bit, but I've got this plan and I've already thought through this situation. Now I can just do A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to get through this.
It's interesting you say that because I think, one of the number one stressors in America today is money. And I think if the reason that it is we turn money into emotion. Money elicits a lot of emotions for many, many people. And if people could understand that money is just a shovel, it's a tool, and yep, we need it, we use it, whatever. But if you can think of it when you have enough of it and you're feeling good about it, to sit down and look at it as a tool. So what do you do with that tool? Then you can make better money decisions during that point than if you get behind the 8 ball, because you know it's just a tool. Yeah. So if a shovel breaks, you deal with a shovel breaking. If the money's not coming in, you got things you got to do to bring the money in. I mean, these are just decision-making things that you can do ahead of time to eliminate or at least alleviate the stress.
Yes.
So it's fantastic.
Reducing stress, keeping emotions in check, and ensuring that you're able to make better decisions. That's really what it's about.
It's fantastic.
Good stuff today. Well, just a few things real quick. Reminder that Taylor and I do a lot of public speaking throughout the year for associations and groups, and we are currently already lining up the schedule for the end of this year and into next year. So if you're looking for someone to talk to your group, your association about things like hiring, getting that rock star team together, culture, how to create a great culture intentionally in your business, and leadership, how to lead the culture and the people that you've hired and do the best that you can to get everything you can out of your business. If those subjects are interesting to you and you think we'd be a good fit for your group, get in touch with our show coordinator, Jessica Wynn. Her email is simply jessicaw@bcpshow.com. I'd like to just remind you, if you'd like to let us know how we're doing, we'd love it if you'd take just a minute to go over to iTunes and leave us a review on the Blue Collar Proud Show page. More reviews like that mean that we're able to serve more listeners and keep this project growing and going for a long time to come. Also, don't forget you can download our free show app. It's available in the Apple App Store or from Google Play. It's got great content there, lots of good bonus episodes. Every week we're releasing the show there, and you'll get an alert if you have the app installed to let you know when it's available, as well as a lot of special offers like for things like Spark Marketer Services or Closing Commander. Most of all, though, I just want you to come hang out with us over in the Blue Collar Proud Nation Facebook group. There's been some good posts over there, good conversations going on about issues regarding training in blue-collar trades and what we need to do as a society to create better opportunities there. There have been conversations about how to absolutely not do what this one guy did in blowing up his business recently by following somebody 2 miles to their home in order to verbally assault them. Stupidest thing I've ever seen. But we want to, those are the kinds of conversations we're having over there in the Blue Collar Proud Nation Facebook group. So go join us over there and contribute. Also, you can find out about all the other places where you can connect with us online by simply going to our website, bcpshow.com/connect. That's going to do it for this episode of the Blue Collar Proud Show. As always, Taylor and I want to thank you so much for being in our audience and listening every single week. We also want to thank the people that make this show happen. Aaron Blaze, our technical director, Jessica Wynn, our show coordinator, and Jonathan Sanders, our community manager. So until next time, remember this: it takes the same blood, sweat, and tears to build a business that you hate as it does to build one that you're truly proud of and excited to get up and go to every single day. Build it the Blue Collar Proud way, would you? We'll see you again next time right here. Bye, everybody.
The Blue Collar Proud Show is a production of the Blue Collar Proud Network.